Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll look into a scenario in which we repartition Africa. This is a map I got. Although it's not perfect looking. It's bad by Morocco. But it does have rivers. And yeah, Madagascar looks pretty bad. Anyways, that's besides the point. We're not going to complain about this. But anyways, let's go to the first part. Well, the Dutch want a colony. They still want it. They never got it in our time, but we'll give them a colony. They want it to be this big, like, yeah. But they end up only getting, like, this much is all they're allowed to get, unfortunately. But at least they get a colony in this timeline. Let's go to another country. Well, what's another country that didn't end up getting a colony? Denmark. Well, Denmark will be getting their colony. Although they did have a colony, but we'll give them a small one. Because this is a partition, the Berlin Conference. Although I forgot I did enlarge this image, so yeah. The Dutch colony goes between these rivers. Let's go to Ethiopia and see what they ended up having happen. Well, they end up getting a coastline, at least. Get a bit more river. And them being mostly like this. Kind of similar to what they ended up looking like, except they have a coastline. So, we got Denmark, a colony. The Netherlands has a colony. And the Ethiopians exist. So far, looking pretty good for our partition. Now, let's see what the Ottomans get to keep, if the Ottomans get to keep any. With them getting to keep a bit of Egypt's coast. Being decided to give them a coastline. With them deciding to split their country by the Nile for the most part. With the Ottoman Empire having lands. And the Ottoman Empire is pretty powerful, so that's good for them. And as we can see, it's pretty slowly becoming colonized. And let's go to another country that's not going to get lost. Sweden, we can give Sweden a colony. Because why not? Sweden wants a colony and give... Wait, never mind. Norway didn't exist at this time. They were still unified with Sweden, Norway. So Sweden gets a small colony. Because why not give them a small colony? It's the least we could do in my partition of Africa. Not really thinking this is a good idea to partition a continent. But anyways. And who next? I can show you what Britain has claimed. Basically all of the continent. But what they want the most is a transcontinental railroad. But they probably won't get it still in this timeline. With Ethiopia going to the Berlin Conference, Italy joins to see what they get. Italy gets that area. They're able to get this. Like, as you can see, it's going to be much different at the fall of colonization. And they managed to take a big chunk out of Libya, except not that big because a lot of other countries want parts of Libya's land. And that's what the Libya will look like. And since Italy, we like to use dark greens. You know, that doesn't make sense. But anyways. Now, I think we should switch up that color with the Ottomans' color. Because I think the Ottomans should have a darker color for their colony. Because, yeah. And Italy has established 3 colonies. Somalia, Libya, and that. Well, let's see how they decide to go about Germany's turn. Germany comes to decide what they want. But they'll have to argue with other nations, of course. They decide they want the land they had in our timeline, Tanzania. But they decide they still want this colony. And yeah. That's what they manage to do with what they want there. They don't manage to get as much share. They manage to go from this river, so not really Namibia, south of where Namibia's colony would have been. But this is about where Namibia is, except it goes a bit further south. With a colony, with the panhandle being made because they want access to the coast. And they get one more, because they're lucky. It'll stretch around. Basically the equivalents to the Cameroon. And as you can tell, it looks pretty bad. But they continue disputing what it should look like, and they eventually get a good amount of land. They're told no more, because obviously they can't control anymore, so they decide that's all they want, because, well, if you can't control it, well, no point in getting the land. Unless we want revolts. But anyways. Well, I guess the biggest colonizer would be Germany at this point, because as you can see, they took a lot. And Belgium decides to come. King Leopold of Belgium comes. Let's see what he gets. Let's see what Belgium gets. As we know, this is the area Belgium had, right? Right? Around that area. We'll give them access to this river at the front of their colony. They'll go up this because of a later reason. With them getting to stretch down to here. Basically, the river becomes their border. And this is about where Portugal goes from wanting the full continent to not. With a decision being made, this land isn't really made the south of the colony. And Belgium is getting a big colony because why not? But then the Netherlands complains their colony wasn't big enough. This is where they get a bit more land added to their colony. Although nothing to compare to Belgium. Because there's nothing better to do with the Congo, so Belgium gets it all. But keep in mind, the Netherlands has Indonesia to deal with too, so they can't really take as much, as one colony can be a lot bigger than 3 colonies should be. And that's so far it. We got many countries in. Now Portugal claims all the south now. But eventually they get what they wanted, kinda. They end up ruining Britain's plan to be transcontinental. As they get across the depths of the colony. As look at their colony, Portugal has got a lot. Or then they won the jackpot. Well, Britain now, we can see Britain's transcontinental colony thing they wanted. And as you can see, this is a big, big partition. As you can see, they stretch across this area. Of them claiming here. And they also get lands here. Which they're happy about. They managed to get a lot. And that's not all that I've shown you so far. Because they even take even more. And they stretch down there. And this is Britain's colony. That's overpowered. And Spain gets some colonies. Not just there, but also where they got an hour timeline. Although I think I'm going to stretch it a bit longer. Although it's not that much larger. As now, who's left in Western Europe? Maybe there has to be a Western European nation I'm forgetting about. Anyway. There's France, but we aren't at France yet. Maybe I'll do France now. With France managing to stretch across all of these lands. Manage to go down over here. And they stretch up from these rivers. And then this is the colony axis here. Well, loads more nations would want a colony. That's France's, as we know we have all that. Austria-Hungary, let's give them a colony. Why not? Austria-Hungary takes over here. And over here becomes a bit of a discussion, these last two. At this point, Sweden and Denmark decide we should get bigger colonies. And the Netherlands says, can we have some over here? And them deciding to partition it up here. That's going to be the border between the two. And then Netherlands gets a bit of colony there. As Sweden has quite a significant colony. Denmark will also have a significant colony just because, well, yeah. I think we'll make Liberia still, and up there can be gave to the Netherlands. And then we have Liberia, and that's all for our colonization of Africa video. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And as you can see, a lot has happened. Maybe I'll save this map, maybe we'll do wars with it. But first, I'm going to obviously probably make a better map than this. As you can tell, there's lots of stuff needed to be done. But like, at least the Ottomans didn't lose everything. Or Ethiopia's bigger. Or Portugal is happy. Britain isn't as happy, but at least they got something. And it's less, like, dominated to Britain and France than our timeline was, which has its benefits. Yep, exactly. And that's pretty much all for today's video. If you liked today's video, please like and subscribe. That's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who think will be interested in it. And leave a big fat sub. And that's all for today's video. Wild Mapper out. But not until you subscribe. Bye, guys.